Welcome to Modshapes Dream It, Build It with Alex Steele. In this episode, I'm going to talk about further experience with trying to build side panels. Now, just to tell you in advance, I have already failed once. That's in a previous video. First attempt, I had some issues that I thought that I had come up with a solution. New method being to use polyurethane, 3 coats, sand between coats, and really give the wood a little protection. On top of that, I attempted 2 different makes, and I'll talk about that. Now here you can see the wood looks really good with this polyurethane coating, and the next step is to start out with a silicone base. Now this experiment involves Vaseline, but there was a failure. There was some leaking in the mold. You can see here there's some really sparse spaces. So, since that was a failure, the next attempt was to use wax paper instead of the silicone mat. I'd seen some different people doing this online, and I thought I'd give it a go. I also put some tape on wax paper in the location where I thought that the pour of the resin would be. And that turned out to be a mistake, because this also turned out to fail. In this case. So you can see I basically put some tape on the wood itself, and I believe that this is where some of the problem is coming in. I think that the heat of the resin is changing the shape of both the wood and the tape at different rates, which can cause the tape maybe to open up, and resin gets inside and then sort of uses the tape as a channel to travel. So even though I tried very carefully to tape these up and prevent issues, this wasn't really successful. But I clamped everything together, and next time I'm going to do some different things with clamping as well. But I was able to get really consistent sizing with this particular setup, so the criteria of having a consistency in the size is almost there. And here I just want to take 1 second to say how much I love Harbor Freight. These are some clamps that I got from Harbor Freight. In fact, all of the clamps that I'm using in this project I got from Harbor Freight. And as a matter of fact, I picked up a couple more today that are a little bit different that I'm going to use to help attach a block of wood to a table so I can use my hand plane on it. Yeah, Harbor Freight is awesome. Vaseline seems to work really well, and I put it on the inside as well over the wax paper, and I think that was also a mistake. A couple of issues with that. And then we basically mixed resin in the same way. I'm only pouring about 2 ounces here because I do have another project that I'm working on, and I used part of the resin from this pour on that project as well. Now you can't see it, but I'm also wearing a respirator and eye protection, as well as gloves, because anytime you're working with these chemicals, you need to be protected. If you want to see what happens with this particular piece of art, I'm going to put a link in the section below so you can follow that project as well. So essentially now it's just about mixing up the resin. And make sure everything is level. And once it checks out, we start with our pour. And now 12 hours to cure. And here are a couple of photos that I took in about 6 hours into the process. I could already see that there were going to be some issues. And I've already got some ideas about how to clamp this up a little bit better. But this is what experimentation is all about. I literally don't know what's going to happen, so this is all about relaxing, having fun, and creating something new. And here's the moment of truth. So, taking the clamps off is super easy. And that came off just so easy compared to other experiences I've had. Did have some bleed out. I do have some resin that I need to remove. But all things considered, this is the first time that I've done an experiment with this that didn't involve me using something like the floor for leverage to pry it apart. So even though it was a complete failure in terms of the quality of the casting inside, in terms of how easy the mold came apart, it's much better. And you can see this is the result. And it's a failure. But I don't feel too bad about it. I feel like I'm getting closer. The first try, silicone matte, Vaseline alone on sides, a consistent result, but very hard to take the mold apart. Second try, parchment paper on base and sides, Vaseline on sides, and a failure. It's time to come up with a new plan. I've got a hand planer and clamps. See what I can do.